Good morning, everyone. Danny here. Friend of mine, I picked this old shot maker tank up from him last weekend at our trap shoot over in the next county, and he's had this for a long time, and he's wanting me to make it right. Somebody built this tank years and years ago, and I'm going to make some changes to it and put one of my pots on it for him. And so whoever had this working at one time apparently enjoyed standing up while they were working, but I don't. I like to sit down because I'm going to cut the legs down on it and get it to the right height. this this thing where your burner pan sits, they've got on a hinge, and I'm cutting that off, and then I'm going to shorten it because this is about a 25-degree angle, and it needs to be 12 or thereabouts. When I'm talking about these angles, I don't mean exactly. You can be off a degree or two, and it doesn't affect anything. But I generally go for a 12-degree angle here on the burner, and then 20 degrees on the ramp. I weld onto the bottom of the pot, so that gives you an included angle of 32 degrees, which works really well. It's consistent. You can vary that by a few degrees, and you won't notice it. But that's just your general place you want to shoot for. So I'm going to cut this hinge off and re-weld it and get this angle at 20 or at 12 degrees. Now, this is their overflow they were using. What they've done is just cut the metal down and bent the lip over. And I don't know, maybe they had a bucket sitting down under it and it was just running down the side of the tank and dripping into the bucket. But I'll put an adjustable pipe nipple in the side like this one, and attach a hose to it that goes in, that you can put in a 5-gallon bucket. Now you can turn this up and down. I've got it tight. You have to put a screwdriver down in here and lift it up to adjust your angle, and you don't have to mess with that very often. But like when I put a different dripper pan on there, I may have to adjust it a tiny bit to keep my distance here of about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of the ramp to the coolant. But I've got to do that. Now you guys notice I've got some bricks sitting in my tank here. That the reason I'm doing the bricks is just acts as a heat sink. It helps keep the fluid cooler longer if you're running, a lot of shot. I usually make 125-pound runs, and occasionally I'll do 2 runs in a row. So your fluid tends to get warm. I've got 3 5-gallon buckets of fluid mixed up. So I'll exchange one of those buckets with a fresh one, which cools everything down a little bit. But it still gets a little warm, even though I'm circulating my fluid in the tank the whole time with this pump down in here. I've got a little bilge pump. Sits there in the bottom, and it's pumping water up into this hose, and it just shoots it back down into the tank here and circulates the fluid. I also use this hose to pump my tank out. I just sit it down in a bucket here, turn on the switch, and it pumps the tank dry, and it's real convenient. Now, another reason this person probably built this tank so tall was they had this drain on the side of it. Well, in order to have a drain like that and get a 5-gallon bucket under it, you've got to have a really tall tank. So I'm thinking that's probably why they built it this tall. But this little pump deal works much better, and you can set your tank down and sit in a nice comfortable chair while you're running shot for a couple hours. So anyway, I'll get this thing finished up, and I'll make another little short video of showing the changes. So you guys have a great day.